Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my experience after 1 year of the Peterson Academy. So last July, I signed up for the pre-enrollment, which means that courses became available to me August 21st, marking almost exactly 1 full year I've been attending the Peterson Academy. In today's video, I hope to share with you guys not just my experiences, but I hope to answer for you guys any questions you might have before signing up for this academy. So I'm going to go over pricing, payment plans and stuff like that. I'm going to go over the courses themselves, which ones were my favorites. I'm going to go over the professors and talk about the quality of them and see if any of them let me down. We're going to go over degrees as well, and whether or not you're going to get a degree if you attend the Peterson Academy. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to answer the question of whether or not I think that this can actually replace traditional brick and mortar universities and whether or not this is truly the future of education or if it has a long way to go. If I don't answer all of your questions in today's video, definitely let me know down below in the comments. I will respond to any and all questions you guys have for me about the Academy. And if you guys like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends to help boost this channel in the algorithm. It means the absolute world to me, so I really appreciate if you guys can do that. And with that all out of the way, let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to discuss is pricing for the Academy, because that has changed a little bit over the last year, and I want to clear things up for people. So the Academy, when it first launched, came out at $4.99 USD. Now for Canadian, I'm a Canadian, that came out to around $600 and I think $80, something like that with the conversion. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but it was around that number. Now, this time around, when I'm paying for my next year, which I will be billed, I believe, on September 9th, my next year will be $3.99. So they dropped it by $100. But originally it was $4.99, and then they actually upped the price. I think a couple months in, I think 3 months in, they upped it $50, and then they dropped it down $150 to what it is now, which is $399 USD. And if you're wondering what that is Canadian, I believe it's $580 roughly Canadian. So that's the price of the Academy, and if you guys are interested in paying monthly, you do have to commit to a full year. It's not like a monthly plan where you can cancel anytime. You have to commit to a year, but you can pay in monthly installments. Now, I believe this is only available to people in the US, possibly Canada and Australia as well, but I do believe that eventually this payment plan will be available to everybody worldwide. Now, it is through Affirm right now, which also does payment plans for Amazon, so you might be familiar with them through there. But if you guys commit to a full year, you can pay the $399 yearly tuition in monthly installments. So it'll come out of your account monthly if that's how you want to do it. Now, also in regards to pricing, I should talk about whether or not I think that price is fair. Now, that's getting ahead of myself a little bit because now we're judging whether or not the Academy is worth it, but I do think the price is fair. From what I got on the Academy, there is 58 courses currently, and there's a new one being added every week. Every course is anywhere between 6 to, I think the longest one is 13 hours. So these are long courses. They take you a whole week to complete anyways. So there's always new content on there. And as I'll explain later in the video, I think that the quality of the content, the quality of the professors, and the quality of the website itself all make that the value of $3.99 or even $4.99 is absolutely worth it. For me, myself, this is just for me, I would pay at least triple what I paid for the Academy to attend it and to take all of these courses because I found them to be absolutely outstanding. Both the quality of the courses themselves and the beauty of the courses, I think, made it worth the money. So in my opinion, the $4.99 or what it is currently, the $3.99 price tag is absolutely worth it, in my own opinion. So the next thing that I want to discuss is the Academy website itself. I'll get to the professors and the courses in a second here, but I just want to go over the website itself. Now, I did already make a Peterson Academy tour video, so if you guys want to see me kind of click through the whole website, click on all of the tabs and show you guys everything, you guys can go check out that video. It was made a few months ago, so there have been a couple new features added since then. Maybe I'll do an update video sometime soon, but I'm not going to do like a full tour today. I'll throw up a couple images on screen right now of what the website looks like, but needless to say, it's absolutely beautiful. It's very clean, very, very well organized, and it's super easy to navigate. I never feel like I don't know where to click or anything like that. Everything is so well organized. You can see by the pictures on your screen right now that the website is absolutely gorgeous. You have a search bar where you can search for courses, instructors, or even topics. And then in the far right there, you have your little notification bell if anybody sends you a message on the Academy. You have your profile page, obviously, where you can change your bio, you can add a profile picture, you can change the color theme if you want it black or white. It's kind of nice. I always like having a dark color theme. And on the far left there, you can see that you have your home page, which is where you will find all of the new courses. There's a continue watching tab, kind of almost like Netflix or Amazon Prime, so you can continue right where you left off, which is a very, very nice feature. It makes it very easy to just jump back into lectures. And you have all the lectures laid out here. I'll show you guys a couple of them, but there are 58 lectures now on the Peterson Academy at the time of recording this video. So if you guys want to go check out all of the courses, just go click on the Academy website and you can kind of browse around. You guys can watch trailers. You don't have to sign up for the Academy to watch the trailers, and I highly recommend it. The trailers are very well done, and they get me motivated to start the courses. Under the homepage, you have the quad, and what the quad is basically the social media platform. So you have a new post tab where you'll see all of the most recent posts. It's all organized in chronological order. Then you have your following tab where you can see what people you have followed are posting, if you want to just focus on that. And you can also see trending, some posts that are kind of popular right now. So that's nice. And this is developing over time. It's not perfect right now, but it's come a long way from when the Academy first launched, and it looks better and better each day. And I will say that the community is absolutely fantastic. Everybody is so nice and welcoming. Everybody wants to learn. Everybody wants to push each other forward. People are always helping each other on there. And from browsing through the quad, I almost never see negative comments. I almost never see people disparaging people or bringing people down. There's none of that on there. So it's really the healthiest social media platform I've ever been on in my life. So I absolutely love having that. I wish when I went to my brick and mortar university back when I was 19, I was only there for a year, but when I went there, I really wish that we had something like this, like a real social media app where we can kind of communicate with all the other students and we can form study groups and stuff like that. It makes it a lot of fun. So the quad is absolutely fantastic. Underneath that, you have My Courses, where obviously you can see all of your courses. So you can see the courses that you've saved, you can see the courses that are in progress, and you can see the courses that you've completed. So here on my tab, you can see my overall grade there is 91.9. Not too bad if I say so myself. So the reason why I only have 5 completed courses there is because I've only done the final exams for 5 of the courses. So that kind of pulls me into the quizzes and final exams, which I'll talk about in a second here, but there's still 2 more tabs that I want to cover on the website. So let's put a bookmark in that and I'll come back to the completed courses in a second here. But just under the My Courses tab, you have messages, which I'm sure you guys can put the dots together there, are for your messages. So I'm not going to show you guys any of my messages because those are personal, but needless to say, all of you guys that have sent me messages there on the Academy, I believe 32 of you guys have followed me on the Academy. A bunch of you guys have sent me very, very nice messages, so I appreciate it a lot, those of you guys who have done that. And yeah, I've met a lot of cool people through my little inbox there on the messages. So just below that, we have our study groups, which you can join a study group for absolutely every single course on the Academy. If you want to connect with other students who are taking this course at the same time as you want to share opinions, talk about different things in the course, this is where you're going to do it. And it's very well organized too. You can create discussions, you can comment on those discussions, you can pin different things. It's so well organized and it makes it very, very easy to study for these classes. These study groups can be a huge help for studying for different courses, especially when you don't have a brick and mortar location. You don't have a live physical location where you can go see other students in person, talk to them, form real physical study groups. It's a little bit of a substitute, and I think it works pretty well. I haven't joined any of the study groups myself, but I've been observing from afar, and from what I've seen from the different study groups, it looks like people are getting a lot out of them. So that is awesome to see. I love seeing the study groups feature that was added just a couple months ago, and I hope that that feature just expands and evolves in the future. I hope we get some chat rooms. We can start video calling some of our fellow students and stuff like that. You know, I don't know if we'll ever get physical locations for the Peterson Academy, Academy, possibly somewhere down the line in the future. But for now, we need to do the best with what we can online. And the study groups on the Peterson Academy website have been absolutely terrific so far. So I really, really like that feature. And just below that, you have bookmarks, which is where you have, all of your bookmarks that you place for different courses. If you bookmark a certain spot in a course, it'll save and you can go check it in your bookmarks. So that's a pretty easy feature to explain to you guys. And then I guess just under that, you can also post. Obviously, that goes back up to the quad. You can post directly onto the quad, or you can send things directly to people that you follow or people who follow you. So fantastic website. It's so well laid out. So many great features on there. There'll be many, many more features to come. The one thing we don't have is downloads for the lectures. That is a feature that has been promised to us. It should be coming soon. But another feature that has been added relatively recently that I really like is the ability to access all of the slides. So sometimes the professor will throw things up on screen, graphs, charts, stuff like that, or just images will pop up behind them to kind of give the course or the lectures a more lively nature, right? There's like all these beautiful colors and images and quotes that pop up behind the professors as they're talking about different things. Now, all of those screenshots, all of those slides you're now able to download them, and you can kind of scroll through them on your own. So you can go back and review the courses that way. If you don't want to rewatch the courses, you can just go back and look at all the slides. So that's nice. I love these little features, the tiny little things that make it a little bit easier to study things. It makes it so you can personalize how you study. So I think that's everything that I wanted to cover when talking about the website itself. So now I want to discuss a little bit about the courses and the lectures themselves. And then we'll get into the quizzes and the final exams and what those are like. And then I'll talk about my favorite professors and maybe some of my not so favorite professors on the Academy. But first, I want to talk about the courses. So course selection. What kind of courses are on the Academy? Well, everything's pretty well represented. You have science courses, you have humanities courses, and you have art courses. You don't have a ton of science courses. You have your intro to cosmology, your intro to astronomy courses. So those are nice. They're introductory courses, but I would like to see more courses in those veins eventually. We have a couple biology courses. We have the Weinstein course or Weinstein course. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. We have the biology courses with I'm forgetting his name right now. I'll throw it up on screen. Benjamin Bickman, I believe his name is. So we have a couple biology courses, but I do find that the hard sciences are lacking a little bit. The majority of the courses fall under 3 subjects. The majority of the courses are either philosophy courses, history courses, or psychology courses. That seems to be the bulk of what's on the Academy right now, and that's for a good reason. And I'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end of the video, but there's a good reason why the Academy kind of leans more towards that one direction. But the course selection, I think, is pretty good. You have finance courses, math courses. You kind of have a pretty wide spread, especially for only having 58 courses, right? They have less than 60 courses right now. There's going to be many, many more in the future. Over the coming years, there's going to be several hundred courses, and they're going to have a wide range. So, and we're starting to get part 2s now. Part 2s, maybe part 3s, maybe even part 4s in the future. So courses are getting a little bit longer now. When I first took my abnormal psychology course, it was an introduction to abnormal psychology, and I think it was 8 lectures long. And I thought, okay, this is good, but I've already taken an introduction to abnormal psychology course before. So I kind of want to go a little bit deeper. So they added a part 2, which with 6 more lectures, and it did go a little bit deeper. So it feels more comprehensive. So these courses are getting longer with time. We're getting part 2s and whatnot, like I said. And some of the courses are getting a little bit longer in length as well. So Jordan Peterson recently released a Maps of Meaning course, a course that he's been teaching for a long, long time. They have the 2015, 2016, and 2017 versions free on YouTube if you guys want to go check them out. But they've all been 12 lectures long. That's traditionally how long that course has been for him. This one on the Academy is also 12 lectures long. That's the first time we've gotten a course of that length on the Academy. For the most part, they've been between 6 and 8 lectures. Now we're starting to see some longer courses, so that's very good to see as well. So like I said, the course selection is pretty damn good. I don't really have any complaints there. I would only say that it's a little bit skewed towards those 3 subjects that I mentioned earlier, psychology, philosophy, and history, but I think we're going to get lots and lots more courses in the future, and everything should be covered fairly well. So next, I thought it would be fun to share with you guys my favorite courses on the Academy so far. Which ones did I enjoy the most? Which ones did I get the most out of? Obviously, I've been doing course reviews for every single course that I've taken on the Academy. So if you guys want to see my specific thoughts about each individual course, you guys can go watch my course review videos. But these are my favorite courses that I've taken on the Academy so far, not in any specific order. This isn't like an official rankings. These are just some of my favorites so far. So one of my favorites, actually, this would probably be my favorite course I've ever taken in my life, Peterson Academy or not. Like I said earlier there, the 2015, 2016, and 2017 versions are free on YouTube. I took those when I was 16, 17 years old. And the Maps and Meaning course by Dr. Jordan Peterson is one of my favorite courses I've ever taken in my life. It's been so transformative. It's changed me in so many ways. I can't even describe it here. You guys should go watch my course review video for Maps and Meaning, and you'll get a sense of just how powerful that course has been for me. So that's probably my favorite course on the Academy. Another one of my favorites is the History of Western Music with Samuel Andreev. I learned a lot throughout that course, a lot about so many composers that I've loved for so many years, and I learned so many cool life details about them and a lot of musical details. You know, I learned a lot about music theory throughout that course that I didn't know before. I haven't really played an instrument throughout my life. You know, I've picked up the drums here and there, but I'm not really that good. I'm not a classically trained musician. So I don't really know all the technical jargon, and taking a course like that was really, really helpful for me understanding the music genres that I love so much, like classical music, jazz, and whatnot. So fantastic course there. I also really enjoyed the John Vervaeke courses, The Primacy of Beauty and Introduction to Intelligence, I believe. Both of those were fantastic. I think he has another one too. It was like Rationality, Wisdom. I'll throw it up on screen because it was a long name, but all three courses were fantastic. John Vervaeke, I think, is the most challenging professor on the Academy. I could be wrong there because I haven't taken the mathematics or finance courses yet. Those tend to be a little bit more of a struggle for me, but at least with words, I find John Vervaeke to be a little bit complicated at times, but in a good way. It's always fun to take his courses because you feel like you're doing real mental work, trying to understand exactly what he means by what he says. But when it all clicks together and it makes sense to me, it's just beautiful. It's like revelations of beauty and intelligence and all the things that he talks about. When it clicks, it's gorgeous. I absolutely love taking his courses. I learned so much from them, and I highly recommend watching his Escaping the Meaning Crisis course that he has on YouTube. I think it's like 50 lectures long, something like that. Maybe it's 30. It's a pretty long course, but I highly, highly recommend it. I learned so much from that course, and it's really, really easy to listen to. I find John Vervaeke to be one of those professors that is just constantly interesting whenever he's presenting anything. So I really liked the John Vervaeke courses as well. Stephen Hicks is a professor that I absolutely fell in love with through the Peterson Academy. I maybe watched his Jordan Peterson interview when he was on his podcast way back in the day. Maybe I saw the Trigonometry podcast as well. I can't remember, but I think I saw a couple things with Stephen Hicks. Not much though. I wasn't super familiar with his thought. Then going into the Peterson Academy, I saw that he had a lot of courses on philosophy, and that's my bread and butter. So I took those courses, and I really, really liked Stephen Hicks. I love the way that he presents things. He seems very calm and measured. He has great oratory ability. He's just silky smooth with his words. It's very easy to listen to him. And I like the way he lays things out. He does his courses in a very specific way. He takes a specific work from a specific thinker, and he takes apart their quotes, and he kind of gives you different interpretations. This is what these people think about this quote, and this is what these people think, and this is how this quote influenced this person who came later, and we'll talk about him in the next lecture. And it's just so fantastic, so interesting. I really, really liked his courses as well. And Stephen Hicks' courses were on the philosophy of politics. He had part 1 and part 2, the philosophy of ethics, postmodern philosophy, and modern philosophy. Michael Malice had a course on the rise and fall of the Soviet Union, which is very interesting. I can't say that I learned a ton from it. As you can tell, I kind of study the Soviet Union quite a bit. World War II is the period of history I know the most about. So, but I still had a lot of fun with it. I found Michael Malice to have delivered a fantastic course. He was always interesting, always adding in little jokes here and there. You know, he is a comedian, so adds little jokes here and there. And then also made me cry a couple times with how he described, you know, famine and other sort of dark things throughout that course. Very, very awesome. The highs and lows through that course were amazing. You know, I was laughing one second, and then the next lecture I was crying. And a fantastic course by Michael Malice. He really over-delivered in that one, I think. James Orr is another professor who I got introduced to from taking courses on the Peterson Academy, and I was pleasantly surprised. He has a course on ancient philosophy and another one on Plato. Both were fantastic, and what I will say about James Orr is out of all the professors on the Academy, he is at the top for oratory ability. He is so smooth. His words are like honey. It's it's such a pleasure to listen to him speak. And when he was talking about ancient philosophy and Plato, it was so damn interesting to me. Those are subjects that I love studying. So James Orr was fantastic as well. And I'll just mention two other professors and a few of their courses that I really, really liked. The most interesting professors that I've had actually were Brian Keating, Dr. Brian Keating, who taught the Intro to Cosmology and Intro to Astronomy courses. Both were so fantastic. He was doing experiments in front of the students, and you kind of got to take a little bit of part of that through watching online. I know it's not the same as when you're there in person, but it was still really, really cool. We got to see some experiments and stuff like that, and Brian Keating just exudes passion for the subject. Like, you can just tell that he's like a little kid in a candy shop. He gets so excited about talking about astronomy and cosmology, and it was so much fun to take those courses with him. And the last professor that I'll mention today was the most interesting professor I've had on the Academy so far. It was Dr. Balan Jalal, who taught Intro to Neuroscience and the Neuroscience of Dreams. The Neuroscience of Dreams is the most interesting course I've taken on the Academy so far. It was so riveting and engaging. Like, every single lecture I was glued to my screen just waiting to hear what he was going to say next, because everything was so damn interesting. I can't stress it enough. But Dr. Balan Jalal did an amazing job with both of his courses. I hope we get a lot more from him in the future. So that kind of wraps up who my favorite professors were too. Dr. Balan Jalal, loved him. Brian Keating was fantastic as well. Stephen Hicks and James Orr have oratory abilities that are just unmatched. They're so silky smooth with their words. It's very easy to listen to their lectures. Samuel Andreev taught me so much about music. John Vervaeke and Jordan Peterson I've been big fans of for a long time. I'll throw Jonathan Pageau in there as well, because he also has a course on the Peterson Academy, but only one at this point. I hope we get more from Jonathan Pageau. I really, really love listening to him as well. So I think that kind of concludes my favorite courses and professors. So next, I want to talk about the quizzes and the final exam. So we don't have a final exam yet. And what I mean by final is the exam that you're going to take to get your certification or your degree. Now, I say "or" there because I don't know exactly what it'll be. Will it be a certification, or will it be an actual accredited degree? We'll talk about that in a second, but before we get there, let's talk about the quizzes and the final exams for the courses. So each course, with the exception of the 18 courses that were initially launched with the Academy, so when the Academy first came out, there were 18 courses already on the Academy. It didn't start out with just 0 courses or just 1. It started out with 18, and those 18 courses had quizzes for each lecture that had 10 questions in the quizzes, 10 question quizzes. Now, every single course that has come out since then, every single quiz for each of the lectures has only 5 questions. So I hope that makes sense. The initial courses all had 10 question quizzes. All of the new courses have 5 question quizzes. And like I said, there's a quiz for each lecture. So you take a lecture, at the end of it, you get a little prompt. Do you want to take the quiz? You don't have to take the quizzes. They're completely optional. You don't have to take a quiz to move on to the next lecture. You can watch all the lectures and just ignore all of the quizzes. You don't have to take any of them. But they're all multiple choice. There's no written answers at all. You take the quizzes, and then all of those quizzes throughout all of the lectures, they all kind of get culminated into the final exam for the course. And the final exam for the course, it depends on the length of the course. The 6 lecture courses, they tend to be 30 questions. The 8 lecture courses, they tend to be 40 questions. And you have 30 minutes to answer 30 questions, 40 minutes to answer 40 questions. You are on a timer. You can't stop it. You can't pause it, come back and take your test later. Once you start taking your final exam, you have to sit down for that whole timer and take your exam then. If you leave it with unanswered questions, they just get marked as wrong. So if you're going to take your final exams for your courses, please make sure that you have the time to do them. Sit down, do them fully, and study a little bit. Go back to your old quizzes. You can go back to your old quizzes and you can see what you got right and you got wrong. They will mark it for you, but you can't retake your quizzes. That's one feature that I wish they would add. I wish they had practice quizzes for exams that you want to take later, but you can go back and you can look at what you did on your old quizzes, and then you can kind of study for that final exam. And like I said, final exam is 40 multiple choice questions. There's no written responses for the final exams of the courses. That tends to be a little bit of an issue for me. I would like to write something for my final exams for my courses so that I get some sort of direct feedback. Yes, you are understanding this. Sure, multiple choice kind of does that, but it's a little bit more comprehensive when I write something out. This is what I think about this course. These are the ideas that are within it, and this is how I came to understand it. Is this right? And have somebody mark that. So I would prefer that for the final exams for the courses, but we don't have that at the moment. Right now, it's only multiple choice questions. Now, you might be asking, well, if they're multiple choice questions, isn't this pretty easy? Isn't it like a breeze to get through? Is it like too easy? Not really. I think the multiple choice questions are the best multiple choice questions I've ever taken in my life. They're wordy, they're long, they're difficult, they trick you at times. They're not like tricky in a bad way where you're like, come on, man, I should have gotten that question right. Why'd you like purposely try to trick me? But they're tricky in a good way. They definitely test your knowledge. I think that's the main thing here is if they test your knowledge, they work, and they definitely do that. I'm not scoring 100% on my quizzes. I'm getting things wrong, even though I'm very attentive and I'm writing down notes and stuff like that. I still get things wrong at times. So I do find the quizzes to be of a sufficient difficulty. And obviously the final exams are also of a sufficient difficulty. I would even say that the final exam multiple choice questions tend to be even a little bit more difficult than some of the quiz questions. So even though they're drawing from the same pile of questions, you won't get the exact same questions from your quizzes on the final exams. They'll be a little bit different. They'll be a little bit shaken up, but you will see a couple questions repeat from your quizzes. That's for sure. Another nice thing about the quizzes is you can compare them to the class average right away, and it's very, very nicely laid out. So I'm going to show you guys my quiz results here for Introduction to Nietzsche by Dr. Jordan Peterson. So you can see my grade here was 89.8%. The class average was 83%, so I scored above the average there. I'm very proud of that. I want to keep doing that. Always want to be above the average, obviously. And then you see for the quizzes here, you can see each individual quiz. I got 100 on the first 3, then 90, then 70. Not very good on quiz 5, but 100% on the next one, 80%, 90%, and then you can kind of see just below my numbers there, you can see what the average was. So I was scoring above average for basically everything there, which is, like I said, how I want to keep it. So if you're wondering about cheating and using ChatGPT to answer all of your quiz questions, you could do that. You certainly could cheat the exams. You're really only cheating yourself at the end of the day. But at the final exam, when you get your degree, when you get your certification, you're going to be proctored. They're going to be watching you. You're probably going to have your laptop camera on. I've taken online proctored exams before. Usually you have to place your phone somewhere in the picture where they can kind of see, and they're observing you the whole time. And it's going to be very hard to cheat on the final exam. So if your marks don't line up, your final exam to what you got throughout the quizzes and the final exams for the courses, they're going to know. And you're probably going to be reprimanded for that. So I wouldn't cheat, but you definitely could. I have actually taken one of my courses that I've done all the quizzes for before, and I went back and I asked ChatGPT to try to answer the questions correctly, and it actually struggled with it. So I don't think ChatGPT is going to be as big of a help as you think, but I asked ChatGPT to go over the questions, and then I compared it to what I got, and it actually scored worse than I did. I scored better than ChatGPT asking it to answer the questions, the multiple choice questions. I actually scored better than the chatbot, and I do have the most up-to-date version. You know, I have ChatGPT 5, and still it wasn't able to answer the questions perfectly. So if you're wondering about cheating, don't do it. It's never good to cheat, because at the end of the day, like I said, you're only cheating yourself. But if you do decide to try to cheat, I don't think it's going to work out for you as well as you think. I think the quizzes are very well worded, so they kind of fool even the AIs. So just take your time, write some notes. You'll do fine on the quizzes if you're paying attention and you study a little bit. Trust me, they're not the most difficult things in the world. If I'm scoring above average, I'm sure anybody watching this video can too. I'm not a super genius. I just pay attention to the courses. So that's what I would say on the cheating front. But let's talk a little bit about the final exams now, because those haven't come out yet. We don't have the certification or the degree. And I should probably answer that question too. Are we going to get a certification? some sort of piece of paper that says that we've completed the Peterson Academy. And what weight does that actually hold? Does that have any value? Is that actually equivalent to a bachelor's degree from a brick and mortar traditional institutional university? Or is it just a piece of paper that's not really going to get you a job? Or are we going to get an actual accredited degree? Like the same thing as a bachelor's degree, like I said, from a traditional university. What's going to happen? Well, we don't know quite yet. They're still in the process of pursuing accreditation. They're pursuing it with multiple institutions. So I think accreditation is likely. In my opinion, we will get accredited degrees eventually, and you will have a degree handed out to you at the end of your studies that is directly equivalent to a bachelor's degree from any other university. Now, if an employer looks at your application, they say that it says that you have a bachelor's degree from the Peterson Academy, and they judge you because you went to the Peterson Academy, well, that's a completely separate issue. If you're going to an employer that's going to judge you for being aligned with Jordan Peterson, well, if you're that aligned with Jordan Peterson, you probably don't want to work at that place anyways, or you might want to go get a different kind of degree if that's one of your concerns, because I know that there will be employers out there that will look at a Peterson Academy degree a little bit different because Jordan Peterson, unfortunately, is such a divisive figure. That's just the way it is. But I do believe we will get accredited degrees in the future. If we don't, the Peterson Academy has promised us to go to employers directly and try to get their students hired that way. So you should be able to get some sort of job placement if you pursue the certification. If you're wondering what kind of jobs the Peterson Academy is going to be able to provide to its students who pursue this certification, this to some people it might be a fake bachelor's degree. If it's not accredited, I can kind of see that critique. For me, I think the majority of the job placement is going to be to companies that the professors themselves run. A lot of the professors on the Peterson Academy, I mean, so many of them are like high level intellectuals with other companies that they run. They're probably hiring for those companies constantly. I know Jordan Peterson has like 5 companies himself. So probably one of those companies. That's probably where you're going to get hired to if I had to assume. Out of the 50,000 students that are online and active on the Peterson Academy, I think maybe 10%, 20%, maybe 10,000 of them will actually pursue the accreditation, will actually pursue the degree if it becomes accredited. But I think the majority of the students are just here to learn. I think most people signing up for the academy are just intellectually starved people who want to take courses, who like Jordan Peterson and want to see more from him, or they have some sort of other educational motivation, I don't think every single person who's on the academy right now is actually looking for a degree to go get a job. A lot of the people that I see on the academy actually are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So a lot of them already have degrees, or they already have high-paying jobs, or they're just retired and they're looking to push their education even further. So I think there's a lot of different motivations for the people who are on the Peterson Academy, but for those of you who are looking to sign up to get some sort of degree out of it, to go get a job somewhere, I do think you will get that. Like I said, if it's accredited, it's going to be the equivalent to a bachelor's degree if you go to an employer that's not like hateful against Jordan Peterson and just absolutely hates everything that he does. I think you're going to go find a job perfectly fine. If you don't get an accredited degree and you just get a certification for completing the Peterson Academy, like I said, they're going to try to hire people directly through their own sources, and they're going to go to employers directly. So I think either way, you're going to have a pretty decent shot at getting some sort of employment opportunity after you're done your studies at the Peterson Academy. But I will provide you guys with more updates as that develops, because that's still kind of in the flow right now. They're still trying to pursue accreditation, and we haven't gotten any solidified updates kind of since the launch of the Academy. So I'll keep you guys updated on that in the future, but that's kind of where we stand on that right now. So lastly, I want to go over kind of my personal experiences with the Academy. I've touched on, the courses, the quizzes, the final exams, and what the website looks like and all of that. And I will throw up on screen right now some of the images of the actual lectures themselves, because I forgot to mention just how damn beautiful they are. They are so gorgeous. You have this white background. It might seem like a big whiteboard or something. It might seem boring at the time, but when you really watch the lectures, I mean, the colors and the images just explode on the background. You see this smoke and images appear of different figures that you're talking about, and then their quotes pop up, and it's just so beautiful. Like I never had that experience going to a traditional brick and mortar university. You sit in these classrooms with these rows of desks and everything's so, I don't know. it's not beautiful like the Peterson Academy is. The Peterson Academy provides a level of beauty to its courses that no other university can. I've never seen a lecture from Harvard or Stanford online that looks anywhere close to what the Peterson Academy can offer and how beautiful their courses are presented. The white background to me looks very, very clean. And like I said, it gives them the ability to do so many things. They can put so many things on the background there that you can't do with a regular whiteboard or a regular classroom. Like the way that the Peterson Academy lectures are produced is so unique, and they provide, like I said, I keep repeating myself here, but they provide a level of beauty that you're not going to find anywhere else. And I find that all the professors show up and they look very nice, they dress well, and they present their courses. There's no slack, there's no extra filling. Like they're not asking students questions, or students are asking, hey, can I go to the bathroom? There's none of that. That's all cut out. So it's very like cut down, like there's no fat. That's what I really, really like about these courses is sometimes when you go to a university, you sit down and the professor's like kind of having a lazier day, or maybe they're sick. Maybe the professor doesn't even show up, or they show up and they're just like, we're going to watch a movie in this class, or we're going to have a study class or something. And then you just kind of feel like you're wasting your time. With the Peterson Academy courses and the lectures, you never feel like you're wasting your time because all the fat is trimmed off, and all the professors are of such high quality that they're presenting like amazing lectures. You don't have bad lecturers on the Peterson Academy. There's only one professor who I thought gave a bad course, only one. And it wasn't even that bad. It was still way better than anything that I was taking at my traditional university. And it was Michael Shermer, for those of you wondering. I just found like at some points throughout his skepticism course, he was phoning it in a little bit, maybe being a little bit passive and not as engaging as he should be. And I feel like some of his arguments were weak. And I didn't enjoy that course that much. So that was the only weak course on the entire academy. Like I said, every other professor was so interesting. They're like the top professors in their fields. So they're providing you with the most relevant and accurate information as well. So there's so many things to love about that. And kind of getting into a little bit of my personal experience here, just having the ability to take courses from historians like Robert Toombs or Andrew Roberts. Like, I've been a fan of Andrew Roberts for so long. His Churchill biography, I loved. His Napoleon biography, I think, is the best Napoleon biography I've ever read. Not that I've read hundreds, I've read 3, but it's still an amazing biography. I had so much fun reading it. And just being able to take a course from a guy like that, somebody who I've been a fan of for years, and I get to take a course from them. Like, I'm not going to be able to take a course from Andrew Roberts at the university in my hometown. There's just no way. He's not going to come to that university. If I was going to take a course from some of these professors, I'd have to go to Harvard or Yale or Oxford. Like, I wouldn't have the opportunity to take these lectures anywhere else. So just having the access to the top minds in the world was such a treat over the last year. And I never found myself struggling to take lectures. Like, I was taking lectures every week, doing a course, maybe 2 courses a week. I've had days where I did an entire course in one day. I took 8 lectures, 8 hours of courses in one day. Now, sure, I was putting some of the lectures on 1.5 speed, which is another feature that I absolutely love about the Academy, the ability to speed up the lectures. I wish I could have done that at my traditional university. Some of my professors were talking quite slow. I wish I could fast forward through it and just get home, but that's a nice feature as well. And like I said, I was just so enthralled throughout the entire last year. I was so motivated to take these lectures because they were so engaging. So I never felt like a slump in motivation to take lectures or even to do quizzes. Like, even the quizzes were fun to do as well. So I had so much fun with it over the last year, and I've learned so much, especially from the neuroscience courses. Like I said, with Dr. Bilal Jalal, those were so interesting, and they've gotten me to go pick up neuroscience books that I may have never picked up before in my life. And like the biology courses, the evolutionary inference course, I learned so much from that course. I know some people aren't the biggest fans of the Weinstein brothers, but I really liked that course. I thought that he taught it absolutely beautifully, especially with his wife. That was kind of an interesting dynamic. I've never taken a course from a husband and wife before, especially 2 that are like top scientists in their field, and so interesting. And not just intellectual growth either. I feel like I've had a lot of spiritual growth, taking the courses from Bishop Barron, taking the course from Jordan Peterson on the Sermon on the Mount, taking the Jonathan Pageau course. Like, I've taken a couple of religious courses on this academy that have deeply impacted me, like profoundly impacted me. And And that's just something I don't think I'll get from any other university. It was pretty unique to be able to take a course from Dr. Jordan Peterson, Jonathan Pageau, and Bishop Barron. Like, I'm not the hugest Bishop Barron fan in the world, but he says a lot of things that I'm like, yeah, you know what, you're right. You know what, that's true. Yeah, I should probably think about that a little bit more and stuff like that. So I find Bishop Barron to be incredibly useful, even though I might disagree with him on some things sometimes. It was just awesome to be able to take a course from those people. So just before we conclude this video and I answer the question whether or not this is the future of education or a university scam, I want to go over just a couple negatives, I guess any of my critiques that I might have about the academy, because there has to be some, right? This can't be perfect. It did blow my expectations away, I will say. The lectures were more beautiful than I was expecting. The quality of the professors was higher than I was expecting. The quizzes were more difficult than I was expecting. And the layout of the academy website was more beautiful than I was expecting. So everything kind of blew me away. But there were a couple drawbacks. There are a couple negatives, right? So here would be a couple. One, you can't talk to any of the professors. That kind of sucks. I can't ask them any questions. I can't get my questions answered. If I have any questions about the course, I can only ask other students, or I can go online, ask Google, I can ask ChatGPT, and sure, having all those resources is pretty awesome, and I could probably answer my question that way. But still, it would be nice to be able to talk to these professors. Now, the Peterson Academy is planning a cruise for its students. How many will show up? How long will it be? When will it be? I don't know any of that stuff. I would love to go on it myself. Hopefully I can save up enough money to make that happen. But if there's a cruise that happens, then maybe we can talk to some of these professors in person. That'd be quite cool. They've also talked about doing conferences, going around the world, bringing the professors around, doing lectures, and then meeting with the students. I would love that as well. I would just love some way to talk to these professors. I know there's a bit of a trade-off. You have super high quality professors, the top thinkers in their fields. You have guys like Andrew Roberts, one of the best living historians. The trade-off is that you don't get to talk to them. But I would like to see that kind of rectified a little bit. I want to talk to my professors a little bit more, at least get some questions answered. So that's one thing that I would complain about on the academy. The other thing is the lack of video calls. Like, I can't video call other students. I can't have a video chat room and talk with my other students. That would be a game changer on the Peterson Academy. Like, that would change everything. That would make it worth twice as much to me. I'd pay twice the amount of money just to have that feature added to the academy. The ability to have a study group and then talk with my other students and then meet friends that way. Sure, I've talked a little bit, through messages to some people online of people who live near me, but we haven't met up yet. It's a little bit difficult, to plan things out. People have jobs and stuff like that. We live far away, even though we're in the same city. It can be difficult at times. So I would love to see a video chat feature added to the Peterson Academy as well. And the last thing that I'll complain about, I guess, is, I kind of already complained about the one professor that I wasn't the biggest fan on. Like I said, he didn't give a bad course. It was still a good course. It was still interesting. I still found some things useful from it. But I just found like at times Michael Shermer was phoning it in a little bit. I feel like he didn't give the best possible version of the course that he could have. But that was just one professor. That was just one course out of 58. All the other ones so far, I haven't taken every single course, but all of the other ones that I've taken have been excellent. Every single one. I feel like the professor gave it their all. I feel like they gave their best possible course. And yeah, I don't really have any other complaints besides those couple features. I did do a full video of problems with the Peterson Academy and features that I would like to see added. I got a little crazy in the features video talking about maybe AI professors and stuff in the future. But we'll see. We'll see how this academy develops. I'm sure they're going to add lots of features in the future. We have lots of things already promised to us. I'm sure lots of other things are going to come as well. And I just can't wait to see how it develops. The first year has been amazing. It blew me away right out of the gates. It was right out of the bat. It had very few bugs, really. Like, for a website first launching like that, and with as many pre-enrollment students as they had, there was very, very few bugs for the first couple months, but they got them ironed out, and it just blew me away this past year. Like, all the features that they've added so far, like the slides and the study groups and stuff like that, I just can't wait to see what they do in the future. So I don't really have too many complaints. So I guess I'll get to the final question now. Can this replace traditional universities? Is this actually the future of education? Is Jordan Peterson's venture what he promised it to be? Is he actually going to replace those traditional universities? Well, Here's what I think. I think that this absolutely can replace traditional universities in a lot of ways. Not in every way and not for every subject. There are subjects that you cannot take online. It's impossible to get a degree in medicine online. You have to be hands-on. You have to be working with the tools. If you're a scientist, right? If you're a biologist or a chemist, right? You can get so far with taking online lectures. You can get so far with reading books, but eventually you have to get into the lab. You have to start mixing chemicals yourself. You have to start getting things hands-on. Now, there are subjects that aren't like that you never have to get in the lab. You never have to give hands-on. You never have to volunteer. You don't even really technically have to travel. It would be nice, but you don't have to technically travel or go anywhere. You can kind of do all of your studying completely online. And there's a couple subjects that that's true for. The classics, studying literature, right? You pick up the classics like I have behind me here, and you have everything you need to study the classics. You get a pen and a piece of paper, and you start writing what you think about them, right? So there are subjects like that are easier to study completely online or almost completely online. A couple that are you can almost completely study online, psychology, right? Besides, doing the volunteer work, getting to meet people and doing some counseling work and stuff like that. Besides that stuff that usually comes later in the degree anyways, most of the stuff that you do in a bachelor's degree for psychology, you can do completely online. Most of it's reading books, most of it's taking quizzes, most of it's watching lectures. That's what the majority of it is. Same with history, same with philosophy. So there are subjects mainly in the arts and humanities that you can teach completely online. And if you can do it completely online, the Peterson Academy will find a way to do it. They have the most beautiful lectures in the world. They have the top professors in the world. They have, like I said, just gorgeous lectures that just keep you so damn engaged. They have good quizzes. Like, as this academy develops, as it adds more features and stuff, I think people will see the value in it. And I think people will see that this can replace education in a lot of ways, the traditional education, I mean. A lot of the humanities and arts courses, they can be taught completely online, and they can be taught better at somewhere like the Peterson Academy. At least that's my opinion, because when I went to my traditional university, I went there for a year. I was in for psychology, and I wasn't learning anything. I hated my classes. I did not like my professors. I thought that they were teaching me a lot of stuff that I did not agree with. I thought it was lies. I thought it was completely false. A lot of this stuff Dr. Peterson has lined out. In fact, it was the motivation for him starting the Peterson Academy, right? He wouldn't have started this academy if he didn't think that traditional universities were corrupted beyond repair. And I saw that firsthand when I was going to university. I was learning more on my bus rides to university, watching Jordan Peterson lectures on YouTube, than I was at the university that I was paying thousands of dollars for. So I think in a lot of ways he is right about that. I think in a lot of ways he can completely replace those universities and what they were. But I think there are a lot of subjects too that you just can't do online. You need physical locations. You need physical locations for medicine. You need physical locations for chemistry and biology, for physics too. Like, there's a lot of subjects, and all those subjects I just listed have like so many sub-subjects, right? Subfields that you can study. So we'll see how it develops. We'll see if the Peterson Academy eventually opens up physical locations. I think they could do it one day. I honestly think if they raise the tuition a little bit more, I think in a couple years as the student count goes up, it's already at 50,000 students, so maybe in a couple years it'll be over 100,000 people. I think eventually they could raise enough money to start a physical location, at least somewhere, and at least there's one place that people could kind of flock to. But I would like to see places pop up all around the globe, and they don't have to be big. They can be small little spots. They don't have to be huge, massive university campuses like Oxford or Cambridge. I think they could scale it down. I think they could have just little lecture halls and little study halls, and that's enough. Maybe a library, maybe a couple labs, build off that way and just build it up slowly. If you plan on completely reforming education, at least university education, this is like 1,000 years of history, right? We've had like universities for 1,000 years, and they've been developing over time, and we've added different things and we've changed different things. And there's a lot of history here. So to tear it all down and to start anew is very difficult. And I know that that's not completely what Jordan Peterson's doing. He's obviously taking a lot from the old traditions, but at the same time, when you're creating something new like this, you have to compensate for what you're missing from those old traditional brick and mortar universities, right? So I think this question is still yet to be answered. For me, this is going to replace, at least my education. I'm never going to go back to a university here in Canada to study psychology, not at any point at any point in time soon. I think all my studying of psychology is going to have to be through the Peterson Academy and through the books that I pick up, because like I said, when I was taking it at that university, I was being taught stuff that I just knew was false, and I wasn't going to sit there and lie to get a degree, to get a job. I can't do that. I know some people can. They can just lie and get by and get that piece of paper, but I can't do that. There's just something in me that doesn't allow me to do it. So I'm pursuing education this way myself, and I'll keep documenting my journey all along the way until the end. When I get my certification or my degree, I will let you guys know. I'll make a video for it. Hopefully one day I can get interviewed by Dr. Jordan Peterson as like the first graduate from the Peterson Academy. That would be quite cool. Talk a little bit about my story and how I ended up here, because at 25 years old, I thought I was going to have a degree by now, at least a bachelor's, if not a master's degree. I'm a little bit bummed out about that, but like I said, I didn't have a great experience with the university that I first went to here in Canada, and I found that the Peterson Academy was so much better. Over the last year, I've learned more from the Peterson Academy than I did years of studying, not just I did the 1 year of university, but like years of high school. Don't even compare to what I've learned in the last year at the Peterson Academy. It has been tremendous for my education. I think it's the most powerful educational tool I've ever come across. It's just been so, I don't know. I don't know how else to put it into words. For me, it's worth the money. If you're thinking about signing up, I think it's absolutely worth the money. I can't stress it enough. I've become such a better person over the last year. I articulate myself better. You can go back and you can watch my 1 month of Peterson Academy video, and you can compare it to how I am now. And I think you'll see a big change, not just the longer beard, but I think I carry myself a little bit better. I think I'm a little bit more, not intellectual, but I think I articulate myself better, and I'm getting there. I'm learning more. I'm developing my expertise in a couple fields, and I'm expressing that through my channel, Deep Thought. I'm expressing my expertise and my love for the subjects of history, philosophy, psychology, and I just hope to continue to develop, learn, and grow. And my 1 month Peterson Academy video did huge things for this channel. Before that video, I had maybe 500 subscribers. I was still making MMA videos on this channel. UFC videos were coming out under my Deep Thought channel. I don't know what I was doing. I was kind of all over the place. And I made that video. I made my 1 month Peterson Academy video, and I think it's almost at 80,000 views now. And it completely changed my life. Got me up to 1,000 subscribers. I got monetized. I'm getting a little bit of money every month from YouTube, not a lot, but a little bit. And it's just given me so much motivation and belief in myself that I can do this thing. So thank you guys so much for watching that 1 month video. That meant the world to me. That really changed my life. So it means so much to me. Thank you guys seriously for watching that video. I hope this video does just as well. We'll see. So don't forget to like and subscribe and share with all your friends. And yeah, I've had so much fun with this academy, and I've had so much fun here on Deep Thought with you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, it means the absolute world to me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.